everyone, Ben Welsh here, your head golf professional at Frost Creek, and continuing our spring video series. Today I thought we'd talk a little bit about, the technical word would be centeredness of hit, but really it's about your ability to get it in the sweet spot. So first I wanted to start with a little bit of iron technology, and as many of you may remember, I know this is a wedge, but for example of sort of the old blade style iron, where if I hold it this way, you can see that the weight was really distributed more toward the bottom, and that to help get the ball up in the air to keep the center of gravity below the middle of the golf ball. Certainly makes it easier to hit it up in the air at all, but really to get a higher ball flight out of it. But really in these old blade style irons, the sweet spot was about the size of a dime and fairly in the middle, if not, they say a little bit towards the heel, which is a little counterintuitive, but just would depend on the iron and on the set, sort of where they had the weight distributed throughout the back, and sometimes could be pretty challenging if you hit the ball, either getting it out closer to the toe or in toward the heel. And we find that most people will have some sort of tendency, if they don't hit it in the center, they tend to miss one way or the other more often. So getting to some newer technology here, and this is just sort of a demo, a nice big giant one we can see here. But really in kind of the late 70s, early 80s, they invented the cavity back, understanding that if we dig out the middle here, that we can distribute the weight not only down low, but also all the way around the outside, which enlarges the sweet spot. And in a general sense, anywhere that it has been dug out becomes a little more flexible. We get a little trampoline effect, and makes them easier to get up in the air, but also more forgiving. So this here is an example of the new TaylorMade iron and some new technology coming out where they have this little bridge here. They've actually cut a slot in the bottom that they're calling the speed slot, and then this speed bridge, which anytime you take weight out or shave out of the middle, you create weaknesses and inconsistencies. So this is TaylorMade's answer this year, is the speed bridge, which stabilizes, I'll hold it right side up here, stabilizes from top to bottom, and hopefully increasing that trampoline effect, but not gaining an inconsistency where the face might flex too much. So kind of interesting there, but again, where even though an iron tends to be a chunk of metal on the end of a stick, we really have technology that we can use to our advantage. Then just two other different sort of new examples here. I have the Callaway Rogue iron, and this is the TaylorMade P760. Both a cavity back, but a little bit in a different way, where, again, I hope you can see it here, but the Callaway has really the weighting around the perimeter, and then I'll go in close here. So these weights in here are made of tungsten. Really, tungsten's a very heavy metal, and moving that weight down toward the bottom helps create a higher trajectory and give you a little bit of flexibility. Where the TaylorMade iron has this little screw that you can see in the toe here. So they actually have the whole thing hollowed out on the inside, and then have injected a foam that allows for that trampoline effect, but also is very lightweight. So two different ways to get to a similar answer of increasing distance, but distributing weight and enlarging the overall sweet spot. So I'm going to show you a little bit of a trick of a way that maybe you can observe your tendency to get it on the sweet spot or a pattern of misses, and hopefully something you could look at as you get closer to springtime and playing more golf. All right, well, hopefully that information about kind of how clubs are designed and why is sort of useful. And interesting just to note that there is really some useful technology in the irons, all designed around helping us have a more consistent hit no matter where you hit it on the face. So let's take it a little bit into observing your own contact pattern, and sort of a little golf pro trick here, or we can just buy a can of a spray-on talcum powder, body spray, foot spray, whatever. Give it a couple sprays on the face here, and you'll see that it kind of turns the face white with powder. Just makes it easy to see where that contact is. So let me go ahead and hit one here for you. All right, and let's see where that is. Wow, that was a pretty good one for me. But there you can see how obvious that impact spot is. And you might find that you tend to hit it out on the toe. But again, I think some of that just visual feedback, being able to, if you're outside, you can see where the shot went, and maybe kind of tie that back to where the contact was. If you tend to miss it on the toe, they may just come up short more often than not. If you tend to miss it in the heel, they may sort of miss side to side. But anyway, just some interesting information that you could start to pay attention to while you get your body warmed up for golf this summer. All right, fairly interesting stuff with the irons there. And now if we take it to the driver, where that centeredness of contact can be even more important, obviously trying to maximize distance off the tee and find the fairway a little bit more often. It's interesting to note if you look down at the face of your driver that it's not actually flat. Same thing goes in fairway woods, as we've created what they call bulge and roll. So bulge top to bottom, roll side to side. And what that does is create a little bit of counter spin. And so if you tend to miss it out on the toe or tend to miss it in the heel, that bulge and roll by itself will help correct. And then obviously, if we all hit the center more often, we wouldn't need these big giant drivers with all this spin killing technology these days. But interesting to see. So let's take that same spray on talcum powder here and see if we can just get an observation of where the contact is on the face. Go ahead and hit one here. All right, that one's not bad, looking relatively in the middle. Still something to observe though, that the ball is a little bit low on the face, and so as your body warms up or as your swing starts to feel more natural and you get into your main golf routine, you may find that those impact zones sort of move around favorably or not. So again, just something to observe as you get warmed up in the springtime and build your way into a better golf game. So feel free to reach out with any questions on this one, and otherwise, maybe this will give you a little bit of info to bring back and see if we can help you find the middle of the face more often.